Hey, this is Sonny P at the Raven Zone Superstore. Here comes Stan the Fan with Inside PressBox.
Inside PressBox is presented by Freedmont Mortgage. Don't make a 30-year mistake by choosing the wrong lender. Go to Freedmont.com now for all of your mortgage needs. And welcome to another edition of Inside PressBox. I'm your host, Stan the Fan Charles. With the Ravens win last Sunday, they move on to round 2 of the playoffs and on to Foxborough, Massachusetts, where they'll take on Tom Brady and the Patriots. This week on the show, I'll get Towson head football coach Rob Ambrose's thoughts about the Ravens game, and we'll talk more in depth about the game plan he's had while reconstructing the face of Towson football. But first, with all the unseasonably warm weather up till recently we've had, you may think we skipped winter and went straight into spring, and that's probably what my first guest wishes. He's Erik Bakich, the University of Maryland's baseball coach, head coach, and we welcome him to the show. Erik, our timing was just slightly off because this program is going to air on Saturday and Sunday, and it will air about an hour after your what's it called, leadoff banquet?
Leadoff banquet, that's right. But that's okay, Stan. I'm always happy to be here.
I know
talking
that.
Baseball.
All right, but you got to be honest. This time I was a little bit more hospitable with the drive-in. Last year you got in before the banquet when Tommy Lasorda was going to be the keynoter, but you drove through about 18 inches of snow to get here.
That's right. I didn't slide into any ditches this time, so that was good. That's a positive.
All right. Now, Tommy Lasorda was the keynoter last year. This year you got a notable name and with more local ties in Buck Showalter.
We sure do, and we couldn't be more excited about Mr. Showalter agreeing to come and help us out this year. It's a huge boost for our program.
Tell us a little bit. Last year you were all gangbusters about the season. You got to play the best to be the best, and you opened up at Texas last year. Last year was a bit of a disappointment, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't in the sense that we had 23 new players and we played all those guys, and we had 5 freshmen on the field, sometimes 8 freshmen on the field, and so it was a positive in the sense that a lot of those guys got some experience, and that's really what we lacked last year. We lacked that in-game ACC experience. We went down to Texas. We got a nice win, but just couldn't carry the consistency throughout the season. But that's what I think everybody's fired up about this season, is now we have that combination of talent plus some experience.
Well, they say a lot of times in basketball and football, more so than baseball in terms of college, that he's got his own players now. You're coming into your 3rd year. Is there some of that in baseball, or is it just either you got good enough players or you don't have good enough players?
To be honest with you, I'm not one of those coaches that subscribes to that type of thinking. I felt like when I first got to Maryland, it wasn't any waiting for any our players. Those were our players, those were our guys, and it was about making those players the best that they could be, and I felt like we did that. And recruiting is the lifeblood of any college sports program, and so that was what we had to attack. That was the biggest need at the time, and will always continue to be a huge need. And so for us, our program is predicated on recruiting and player development, and that's really what we spend most of our time doing.
How do you feel you are resonating in that area? Do you think the recruiting is going as well as you want it to go?
Well, that's probably where we've had probably some of our biggest success. We've had a top 25, nationally ranked top 25 recruiting class, a nationally recognized recruiting class this past year. The recruiting class we just signed in November is already ranked 25th in the nation, and that's before the Major League Baseball draft. And what you have is a lot of high school players that are very highly ranked on some of the other teams that won't end up making it to school, and I think this class has a chance to be our best one and make an immediate impact. So the recruiting has been a bright spot on this program. People want to come and make a difference, do something special here.
Now, last year you opened in Texas, as we mentioned, and next year we got to mentioning that you open at LSU, because our other guest on this program, Rob Ambrose, his Towson Tiger football team plays down at LSU. But this year you're not starting off lightly either. You go out to UCLA.
That's right. They were the national runner-up a couple of years ago, and UCLA's got a great program and somebody that we certainly look forward to diving right into the fire with, much like we did last year. Like you said, if you want to be the best, you got to play the best.
All right. Now, a little bit tougher question for you, because you came to the University of Maryland with great hopes and energy about building this program. You want to build a stadium out there, and in the middle of all this, there's some shortfalls in the budget out there at the University of Maryland Athletics. They've had to drop, I think, 7 or 8 athletic programs out there. How has that affected morale out there from everybody?
Well, I think you never want to see any teams or coaches discontinued and teams and sports dropped. So we're just trying to support each other. It is a tough time. I mean, I think that there's no bones about it. It's a difficult time. There's some budget issues that we're dealing with and working through, and you know, as a baseball program, we're going to try to find any ray of sunshine to bring to the university, and that's what we're going to try to do right now, is focus on our program and what we can control, and that's our attitude and the effort we put into it every day, and get our players believing they can be a postseason team and get people smiling around the baseball program.
Well, I know I've known you for about 1.5 years, and I know you won't let that kind of, you know, mindset deter you from what's on your mind.
No, you can't worry about things out of your control, and that's what we talk about a lot of times with our players, about being process oriented and focusing on the things they can control, and that's themselves and how they react to certain things. So we're excited that we've still got a baseball program, and we're going to certainly make the most of it.
All right. Well, when this airs, we know you'll have had a successful leadoff banquet for the 2nd year with Buck Showalter, and I promise I will get out to see you this year.
I'm going to hold you to it.
All right. Tell Bernie I said hello, Bernie Walter. When we return, Towson State University head football coach Rob Ambrose will join us. Don't go away. Go to PressBoxOnline.com and register a youth team in your community for a chance to be highlighted as the PressBox Youth Team of the Month, sponsored by Sports Authority. Go to PressBoxOnline.com for all the details.